It's a small moment, but it lingers. You're standing in line somewhere, maybe a coffee shop or a grocery store, and you notice how everyone else seems to move easily. They laugh at the right time. They know what to say. And you're there too, doing the same ordinary thing, but with this quiet sense that you're slightly out of sync. Nothing is wrong. Still, something feels off. You might not talk about it out loud. It doesn't come with a clear story. It's just a feeling that shows up now and then, usually when you're alone with your thoughts. A sense that you experience the world a little differently than most people around you. Why does that happen? What you may be noticing is the feeling of being different from others, not in a dramatic way, but in a subtle, everyday way. This isn't about being better or worse. It's about how your inner experience doesn't always match what you see on the outside of other people's lives. And once you name that, a lot of small moments begin to make more sense. In simple terms, feeling different often means your inner world runs deeper, slower, or more quietly than the environments you move through. You notice more. You think longer. You reflect before reacting. While others seem to move forward without much friction, you pause, not because you don't understand, but because you're processing. One common reason this feeling develops is early sensitivity. Not the kind that draws attention, but the kind that listens closely. For a lot of people, this starts young. You notice tone shifts. You feel tension in a room before anyone names it. You sense when something is unsaid. Over time, this awareness turns inward. You begin watching yourself the same way you watch the world. So while others respond quickly, you check your response first, then check it again. The difference isn't visible from the outside, but inside, it creates a sense of distance. Sometimes, it comes from learning to adapt instead of lead. If you spend a lot of time fitting into other people's expectations, family dynamics, classrooms, friend groups, you may have learned to adjust quietly. You figured out how to blend, how to keep things smooth. That skill can be useful, but it can also create a strange after effect. Later on, when you look around, it seems like everyone else is simply being themselves. And you're still checking the room before you move. That gap can feel like being different, even when you belong. Over time, another layer shows up through comparison that happens without effort. You scroll. You listen. You observe how people present their lives. Not the hard parts, the polished parts. And because you live on the inside of your own thoughts, you compare your private complexity to everyone else's edited simplicity. Their confidence looks clean. Yours feels tangled. So you assume the difference lives in you, when really it lives in what you're seeing. Here's what this can look like in real life. It's late, maybe close to midnight. You're sitting on your bed with your phone, scrolling without really reading. Earlier, you were with a group, nothing intense, just conversation. On the surface, it went fine. You laughed when it made sense. You added a few comments. No one reacted strangely. But now, in the quiet, you replay it. Not the whole thing. Just a few moments. You wonder if you talked too much. Or not enough. You think about a comment that landed softly, not badly, but not memorably either. And suddenly, that old thought appears, everyone else seems to know how to exist without thinking this much. If you've been there, you're not strange. You might know someone who lives like this. This is what feeling different can look like when it's quiet. It isn't loneliness. It's a sense of being slightly misaligned with the rhythm around you. What often gets missed is that this feeling isn't a flaw. It's a byproduct of awareness. When you reflect deeply, you feel deeply. When you notice patterns, you also notice gaps. And when your inner life is active, silence doesn't always feel empty, it feels full. There's a gentle way to relate to this when it shows up. One thing that can help is separating observation from judgment. When you notice the thought "I'm different," pause and ask what that difference actually is. Are you slower to speak? More aware of tone? More comfortable thinking than performing? Naming the quality without turning it into a problem changes the weight of it. It becomes information, not a conclusion. This works because clarity reduces the vague sense that something is wrong, even if the feeling doesn't disappear completely. Another small practice is noticing where you feel most like yourself. Not where you perform well, but where your body feels settled. It might be one-on-one conversations. It might be quiet creativity. It might be long walks or focused work. These moments matter because they show you that the feeling of difference isn't everywhere. It appears in certain environments, especially fast or surface-level ones. Recognizing that can soften the idea that the difference defines you. But there's one detail people often miss, and it changes how you see the whole thing. Feeling different doesn't always mean you're separate. Sometimes it means you're early. You sense things before they become obvious. You question norms that others accept automatically. You feel depth in moments that pass quickly for others. That can be uncomfortable in group settings, but it also carries insight. This is for people who look fine on the outside, but keep wondering why they don't feel quite the same inside. You don't have to turn that question into a problem to solve. Sometimes it's simply a sign of how you're wired to notice, to reflect, to feel. And maybe the difference you've been carrying isn't something to close. Maybe it's something to understand, quietly, at your own pace.